Hi everybody, it's Kathy here and it is Thursday, so that means we're keeping it simple sometimes and I want you to scrapbook along with me. So remember last week we created this frame layout where we have the center cut out, and I put it back together by putting the different colors in the background. So I'm going to use it today for these photos from Chinese New Year, and I think that the round circle really good looks like the moon that's behind the dragon in the photo, so it ties in beautifully. I can't believe we're back at Thursday again. How fast has this week gone? I'm using the leftover orange that I had from that original scrap pile, and I'm going to create a border onto the layout itself. So instead of laying this layout onto a piece of cardstock, I'm actually going to create the frame around the layout. And to do that, I'm just laying these strips on top of each other, and I'm setting up the top and the bottom because I need to bevel the edges for the corners of the frame. Now, it's a little bit tricky to do when you lay it up, but the effect is really very clever, and it just looks like a picture frame around your layout without losing any extra cardstock or any extra paper to create the effect, but using what you have. So now I have my frame set up, I can move on to the rest of the layout. So I've got, as I said, I have these two photos from Chinese New Year this year from down at Haymarket, and the street art on the walls was fabulous. So I took these photos and a selfie of myself in front of it, and you can see how the round circle in the middle of the layout is very similar to the round moon in the photos. So that's a good link to it, but also the yellow in that moon matches beautifully to the yellow on the background of this layout. Now I do have two quote sheets here that I have from a little quote pad that I have collected. One is about aesthetic and being beautiful to look at, and the other one says gratitude, and it does say gratuities under the gratitude, but I'm going to cover that up with the aesthetic one. And I like those little pads because they have the definition, the word origin, and how to use it in a sentence, and it's just something extra to add to the layout. I've also collected the butterfly panel, which I'm just going to put onto the layout just to add that whimsy to the overall effect. Now I have this gold gilt frame, which is a printed one. It's not real gold, it's an orangey yellow, which is fine. And I'm going to tuck it in behind both photos so that it carries across the layout. And that will set up the vertical response to the overall layout. Now I have these flowers which are in the oranges and yellows, which were perfect for this layout, and I've had them on my desk for a very long time, so I thought they were perfect to put into this layout. And then I've tucked them into corners to create the different clusters. So I'm just fiddling with this frame because I want it to marry across nicely, and I've gone with a vertical here, and you can see that I've dragged two picture corners into the top left and bottom right with that red and white dot paper, or red and cream dot paper, just to keep that middle spread across the layout. Now using this burnt orange, I think it's orange gold or something like that from Kaisercraft. It's a shiny one. It's called rose gold, that's what it is, and it is a shiny spray that I've used, and also the Gina Wakely gilt to add the gold into it, and then I top it off with some white. Now I have added some bigger splotches with my finger there, as you saw, just to bring that gold across the layout. And I do go in with the white, even though I thought about not doing it, but I bring the white in to tone down the colour a little bit, and just spraying it with the actual spray for a bit, just to put some big squirts on, and then to splatter over the top. So that's a different way of creating a visual effect across the layout there. And that's very simple, nice and easy, a little bit of ephemera. Down the bottom I've got a flair, you can see there, that says be you and be happy. and I'm using Nuvo drops just to go around the outside of the circle, just to redefine it so it stands out again, just that little bit in the layout, draws your eye around that focal point and allows you to concentrate on the photos. So what started out as a layout that I had no idea what I was going to do, it's completed. It's not necessarily one of my most favorite layouts that I've ever created, but it's done and they're in the photo album now. So that's a great way of building it nice and easily. You saw how easy that was. 2 photos, a frame, and a couple of bits of ephemera. So now I'm moving on with my next one for next week. And I went through my scraps and I was umming and ahhing about which ones to pull and what to create with and which ones went with which. And then I decided on these pieces, and I just love the colour combination that came together from this range of scraps. So I have this brick wall that I've cut out some for a layout before, and that's from a Scrapbook Fantasies one. And then I have these 2 strips here that I want to drag the peachy orange into the layout, and you'll see why in a moment when I put the papers on. So I love the brown in the background. That's giving me my frame and my solid base, because when I create a base, I give myself a base to build on. And then I love these bricks with the graffiti on it. Now I'm using this Vicky Bouton paper here that I used on a layout recently, and I'm just going to pull all of these together. Now you would not think that these different, very aesthetically opposite to each other pieces would come together to create a visual design which is quite pleasing, and I'm actually surprised myself at how good it comes, and I'm actually really excited to work on this layout next week. So these 2 triangles were left over. They're also from a Scrapbook Fantasies range of paper called Aussie Grunge, and I've just poured them together. I love the wedge that it sets up and how the brick wall looks like it's tearing apart from each other. One's with the bigger bricks, one with the smaller bricks. Then I'm going to put this cross hatching in, because all the colours that are on the brickwork are in this cross hatching. So you might be thinking, why? Like how? Why? What does it do? But you've got the peach that I've brought into the top and the bottom. You've got the navy blue in there, and you've got the browns and the yellows and the golds to match the bricks and the graffiti and the overall visual effect of this layout. Now I have left the blue one flapping because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I could tuck it in, photos underneath, ephemera underneath, so that's where I'm working. Now just to finish it off, I'm putting this little strip of red through to finish it. Now you can see that it draws your eye through that point to the end. Now I've just realised that I've got it too far in with the border. I want it to be a little bit more over on the left hand side, so I'm just moving it across a little bit so that it is now a balance against the framing. And as I said, I am leaving the blue loose at the moment because I may tuck photos in or I may tuck ephemera in. I'm not sure how it's going to go when we work this layout. But look at that. That is just dramatically so I love it. It's awesome. I just love it. I can't wait to see what photo I choose and how I'm going to drag this together. But I love how the brick pulls apart, and then you've got the rendered wall behind it. So use your scraps, guys. Get creative. Let's get ready for next week. Here's the layout we created today. It was really easy to do. The inking was very easy. You can do that with a little bit of watercolor paints if you don't have ink sprays. Happy scrapping, everybody. Thanks for watching, and remember, we keep it simple on a Thursday. I'll see you the same time next week. See you then.